Moving on to future trends in motorcycle safety gear, how much has the airbag side of things affected impact armour?
It's huge. It's for D3O, obviously we don't make airbags, so we are a passive armour system at the moment. We can work as symbiotic with airbag systems. We create a back protector that is installed inside the inner workings of an airbag suit already, so we can have a mix of active and passive armour together, which I think is a really good balance, considering that technology is advanced, but sometimes there could be faults. There can be a battery issue, a technical issue, something might break down, you might not be protected when you really need it, whereas the passive armour is always there, no batteries needed. But the evolution of airbags is only just starting. I think from my point of view, and John, you might agree, that they're technically marvellous. They're an amazing invention, considering that we're all used to it in our cars, but at the moment we're still fairly expensive, we're still fairly heavy, they've got battery life, there's different things that you need to think about, and also your ride, is it suiting your ride into town to have a coffee with a friend? Maybe not, maybe you don't need that level of safety for that sort of ride. So I think it has its place, and D3O has its place alongside it as well. But I think the next 10, 15 years will be really interesting to see how those systems evolve. Yeah.
As far as injuries within motorcycle riding, have they improved massively since air suits?
Too early to say, because the technology is fairly new, and I'm not aware at this time of any academic research that's been conducted to look at their efficiency. The take-up amongst road riders, whilst it's growing, I own and use an airbag with a passive back protector built in as part of the component. To me, it's a complementary part of my motorcycling wardrobe, and I wear it on every trip. I take Richard's point about not wanting to go into town to meet a friend for coffee, but the urban environment is perhaps the most hazardous, the most risky in terms of motorcycle accidents. Perhaps that's the time you should be fully kitted up. But that's a different debate. I'd certainly like to see more research into it. I was steered to buy an airbag by a police officer from Avon and Somerset Police who'd said that they'd already noticed riders wearing air vests. They were sustaining fewer injuries than riders without. So I think the logic, given the vehicle airbag analogy, is inescapable. And of course soon we're going to be seeing, they're already being promoted, airbag trousers. So that's the pelvis region covered as well. So for torso protection, I think we're well on the way to them becoming not the joke they were 10 or 15 years ago, but to becoming an accepted part, an accepted option in the motorcycling wardrobe. And once there is a larger take-up, then the academics would get involved and start to look at the benefits, the tangible, the measurable benefits.
John, obviously you do a lot of leisure riding. Is it of utmost importance for the comfort side or the safety as far as you're concerned?
I'd honestly say it's a balance. It's something that's bandied about sometimes of well, you can't have ultimate levels of safety because it's not comfortable. But that's still something that the consumer can decide when they're in the shop. Try it on. Is it comfortable? And if it's not comfortable, obviously helmets are another different standard again. But having a poorly fitting helmet can just put you off biking altogether. It is really important to have that comfort in there. But if we just live in this world where you say, but you can have top levels of race protection, but your leathers, you don't need to be able to walk down the pub in them. You are, although you move around so much on the bike, it's still not important that you can stand up, walk around and feel comfortable all day wearing that kit. So we're looking at different type of gear for different situations. You have to find that balance of comfort. But if we didn't have innovators coming out saying, actually, we can achieve level 2 like this, there might be a compromise somewhere else. As long as people understand what those compromises are, you can achieve high levels of protection and be comfortable. But it takes a desire from the consumer as well, I think. And we can only get that when the consumers understand what the options are and what they're buying. If they're misled, be that by sales, marketing, influence type stuff, it can lead to a situation where we'll just end up with the same old stuff all the time. But while consumers start saying, well, why can't I have level 2 protection in my jeans? Why can't I have AAA? Why can't I have a higher performance in my helmet or an airbag that does this? Why can't I have all this? Then manufacturers will be doing it. And it all comes back to that choice and understanding what it does. So one of the most stupid things I heard was get rid of your armour. An airbag needs to work alongside armour. Whether or not that's at the chest and back, again, that's debatable. I agree, it's good to have some passive protection, but that's also where it will come down to the person's choice or their situation, what they're wearing. But they're not replacing limb protection. And if you ride fast enough into anything, no armour, airbag or anything's gonna do much. But if you can reduce the level of injury you might potentially have, hopefully none of us really need any of it anyway, and none of us will crash.
Richard, we spoke earlier, obviously, and you mentioned it in the chat downstairs. Obviously, it's the freak side of things. It doesn't have to just be a crash. It could be something flying through the air that hits you and so on. And obviously, the airbag doesn't save that.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a sort of quiet reassurance of a protection system that doesn't need batteries or anything to set it off, or yes, a branch coming off a tree or a motorway gantry, a brick gets thrown from somewhere, something falls off a van on the motorway and goes straight into you. There's no time for anything to inflate. So it's even little things like impacts from hail. You ride fast enough in bad weather, it hurts unless you're covered up properly. So I think it's important to just be reminded that passive armour has a good place.
Tom, you're part of the process, like I used to be a little guinea pig, with the negative side of racing, crashing, of course. Looking towards the future, how could your suit be made better on a protection side?
Oh, it's a tough one.
I know, obviously, every crash is different,
Yeah.
And the outcome is different. But
I mean, going from what these guys just said also about airbags, even though it's compulsory in World Championship for us to wear them, I still wear a back protector. Actually, I don't know why, but most guys don't anymore, which for some reason I think it's stupid. I don't understand why you wouldn't wear a back protector, like you said. If the airbag doesn't explode, then you have zero safety.
It could be something as simple as they want to shave 100 grams off the wet weight of the bike.
I understand that, but I like my back more than...
And the difference between you having a spill and being able to get back out the next session, or having the day off, or not getting back at all, it's worth having.
Tom, obviously you're happy with the product you're wearing at the moment, but looking into the future, how can you make your suit safer?
For me personally, obviously I'm happy with the protection I've got with D3O, but the only thing that I would change is my chest protector, because I'm currently not using D3O. So I've just spoken to the guys, so hopefully we can sort something out and move into that, because I would like to use one. And for me at the moment, that's the only thing that I would change with the suits.